Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. Today is the Shabbat reading for Saturday. But before I get started with that, I just want to give a little reminder that last week I talked about my prayer notebook that I've been putting together with prayer requests from all of you, and asked that if you have things you would like me to pray about, please leave them in the comments under this video, or you can also send me private prayer requests by way of email or direct messenger. If you would like to send me an email, you can simply reply to my newsletter if you are subscribed, or there is a contact page on my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com. If you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, you will see the link there to contact me. Let's get started. We're not raining today, but it's about 1.5 degrees outside, and I would like to not melt today, so I am reading in here. We are going to be starting off in the book of Numbers, and we're going to be starting in chapter 23 with verse 27, and we're going to read through chapter 25, verse 9. Balak said to Balaam, "Come, I will take you now to another place. Maybe it will please God for you to curse them for me from there." Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, overlooking the desert. Balaam said to Balak, "Build me 7 altars here and prepare me 7 bulls and 7 rams." Balak did as Balaam said and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. When Balaam saw that it pleased Adonai to bless Israel, he didn't go, as at the other times, to make use of divination, but looked out toward the desert. Balaam raised his eyes and saw Israel encamped tribe by tribe. Then the Spirit of God came upon him, and he made his pronouncement. "This is the speech of Balaam, son of Beor, the speech of the man whose eyes have been opened, the speech of him who hears God's words, who sees what Shaddai sees, who has fallen yet has open eyes. How lovely are your tents, Yaakov, your encampments, Israel. They spread out like valleys, like gardens by the riverside, like succulent aloes planted by Adonai, like cedar trees next to the water. Water will flow from their branches. Their seed will have water aplenty. Their king will be higher than Agag, and his kingdom lifted high. God, who brought them out of Egypt, gives them the strength of a wild ox. They will devour the nations opposing them, break their bones, pierce them with their arrows. When they lie down, they crouch like a lion or a lioness who dares to rouse it. Blessed be all who bless you, cursed be all who curse you." Balak blazed with fury against Balaam. He struck his hands together and said to Balaam, "I summoned you to curse my enemies, but here you have done nothing but bless them 3 times already. Now you better escape to your own place. I had planned to reward you very well, but now Adonai has deprived you of payment." Balaam answered Balak, "Didn't I tell the messengers you sent me that even if Balak would give me his palace full of silver and gold, I could not of my own accord go beyond the word of Adonai to do either good or bad? That what Adonai said is what I would say? But now that I'm going back to my own people, come, I will warn you what this people will do to your people in the Acharit Hayamim." So he made this pronouncement. "This is the speech of Balaam, son of Beor, the speech of the man whose eyes have been opened, the speech of him who hears God's words, who knows what Elyon knows, who sees what Shaddai sees, who has fallen yet has open eyes. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not soon. A star will step forth from Yaakov. A scepter will arise from Israel, to crush the corners of Moab, and destroy all descendants of Shet. His enemies will be his possessions, Edom and Seir possessions. Israel will do valiantly. From Yaakov will come someone who will rule, and he will destroy what is left of the city." He saw Amalek and made this pronouncement. First among nations was Amalek, but destruction will be its end. He saw the Kenai and made this pronouncement. Though your dwelling is firm, your nest set on rock, Cain will be wasted while captive to Asher. Finally he made this pronouncement. Oh no, who can live when God does this? But ships will come from the coast of Kittim to subdue Asher and subdue Ever, but they too will come to destruction. Then Bilam got up, left, and returned to his home, and Balak too went his way. Israel stayed at Shittim, and there the people began whoring with the women of Moab. These women invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, where the people ate and bowed down to their gods. With Israel thus joined to Baal Peor, the anger of Adonai blazed up against Israel. Adonai said to Moshe, "Take all the chiefs of the people and hang them facing the sun before Adonai, so that the raging fury of Adonai will be turned away from Israel." Moshe said to the judges of Israel, "Each of you is to put to death those who in his tribe who have joined themselves to Baal Peor." Just then, in the sight of Moshe and the whole community of Israel, as they were weeping at the entrance of the tent of meeting, a man from Israel came by, bringing to his family a woman from Midian. When Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, son of Aharon the Cohen, saw it, he got up from the middle of the crowd, took a spear in his hand, and pursued the man from Israel right into the inner part of the tent, where he thrust his spear through both of them, the man from Israel and the woman through her stomach. Thus was the plague among the people of Israel stopped. Nevertheless, 24,000 died in the plague. Next, we're going to be reading in the book of Micah, chapter 5. And depending upon which Bible you are using, it's going to be either verse 6 or verse 7. Not all Bibles have the same numbering system, just like not all Bibles have the same book order. Then the remnant of Yaakov, surrounded by many peoples, will be like the dew from Adonai, like showers on the grass, which doesn't wait for a man or expect anything from mortals. The remnant of Yaakov among the nations, surrounded by many peoples, will be like a lion among forest animals, like a young lion among flocks of sheep. If it passes through, tramples, and tears to pieces, there is no one to rescue them. Your hand will be raised over your enemies, all your adversaries will be destroyed. When that day comes, says Adonai, I will cut off your horses from among you and destroy your chariots. I will cut off the cities of your land and lay waste to your strongholds. I will cut off sorceries from your land. You will no longer have soothsayers. I will cut off your carved images and standing stones from among you. No longer will you worship what your own hands have made. I will pull up your sacred poles from among you and destroy your enemies. I will wreak vengeance in anger and fury on the nations because they would not listen. So listen now to what Adonai says. Stand up and state your case to the mountains. Let the hills hear what you have to say. Listen, mountains, to Adonai's case. Also, you enduring rocks that support the earth. Adonai has a case against his people. He wants to argue it out with Israel. My people, what have I done to you? How have I wearied you? Answer me. I brought you up from the land of Egypt. I redeemed you from a life of slavery. I sent Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam to lead you. My people, just remember what Balak the king of Moab had planned, what Bilam the son of Beor answered him, and what happened between Shittim and Gilgal, so that you will understand the saving deeds of Adonai. With what can I come before Adonai to bow down before God on high? Should I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves in their first year? Would Adonai take delight in thousands of rams with 10,000 rivers of olive oil? Could I give my firstborn to pay for my crimes, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? Human being, you have already been told what is good, what Adonai demands of you, no more than to act justly, love grace, and walk in purity with your God. And the last portion is 2 Peter chapter 2. But among the people there were also false prophets, just as there will be false teachers among you. Under false pretenses, they will introduce destructive heresies, even denying the master who bought them, and thus bring on themselves swift destruction. Many will follow their debaucheries, and because of them, the true way will be maligned. In their greed, they will exploit you with fabricated stories. Their punishment, decreed long ago, is not idle. Their destruction is not asleep. For God did not spare the angels who sinned. On the contrary, he put them in gloomy dungeons lower than Sheol to be held for judgment. And he did not spare the ancient world. On the contrary, he preserved Noah, a herald of righteousness, with 7 others, and brought the flood upon a world of ungodly people. And he condemned the cities of Sodom and Amorah, reducing them to ashes and ruin, as a warning to those in the future who would live ungodly lives. But he rescued Lot, a righteous man who was distressed by the debauchery of those unprincipled people. For the wicked deeds which the righteous man saw and heard as he lived among them tormented his righteous heart day after day. So the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from the trials and how to hold the wicked until the day of judgment, while continuing to punish them, especially those who follow their old natures in lust for filth and who despise authority. Presumptuous and self-willed, these false teachers do not tremble at insulting angelic beings, whereas angels, though stronger and more powerful, do not bring before the Lord an insulting charge against them. But these people, acting without thinking, like animals without reason, born to be captured and destroyed, insult things about which they have no knowledge. When they are destroyed, their destruction will be total. They will be paid back harm as wages for the harm they are doing. Their idea of pleasure is carousing in broad daylight. They are spots and defects, reveling in their deceptions as they share meals with you. For they have eyes always on the lookout for a woman who will commit adultery, eyes that never stop sinning, and they have a heart that has exercised itself in greed, so that they seduce unstable people. What a cursed brood! These people have left the straight way and wandered off to follow the way of Balaam ben Beor, who loved the wages of doing harm, but was rebuked for his sin. A dumb beast of burden spoke out with a human voice and restrained the prophet's insanity. Waterless springs they are, mists driven by a gust of wind. For them has been reserved the blackest darkness. Mouthing grandiosities of nothingness, they play on the desires of the old nature, in order to seduce with debaucheries people who have just begun to escape from those whose way of life is wrong. They promise them freedom, but they themselves are slaves of corruption. For a person is slave to whatever has defeated him. Indeed, if they have once escaped the pollutions of the world through knowing our Lord and Deliverer Yeshua the Messiah, and then have again become entangled and defeated by them, their latter condition has become worse than their former. It would have been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than fully knowing to return from the holy command delivered to them. What has happened to them accords with the true proverb, a dog returns to its own vomit. Yes, the pig washed itself only to wallow in the mud. That is the scriptures for today. If you would like to get the entire week's reading schedule, you can find that on my website. I will put a link to that page in the video description down below. And there you can see the text of the reading schedule as well as download a free printable PDF. Thanks for joining me here again at Cosmopolitan Cornbread. Shabbat Shalom.